Please remember to like and subscribe if this information is helpful. This is some information I've been wanting to get out for a long time. I've always voted in California. Even when I lived overseas, I voted on an absentee ballot. So I'm used to getting all of these materials. You see, this is a primary. We get all these materials in here for primary, and then the big election, we get all this kind of stuff. Well, I think we get another small book with this. Even on special, very small area elections, we get a full booklet and sample ballot to mark at home and take in. I lived and voted in Texas. And the voting system is very different there. You don't get all this stuff in the mail. You have to go around looking in newspapers and trying to figure out, a balanced point of view on who they're supporting and who they aren't supporting, and, the candidate statements and all. You need to go do a lot of work to get all of this stuff. When you go to vote, you can go in and go, oh, I'm just voting a Democrat ticket. Or, oh, I'm just voting a Republican ticket. Stamp. Done. It votes everything all the way down. In Texas, judges are elected, and they tell what party they belong to. They are elected by their party. They are not in California. They are just elected on their statements. But the difference is, if you go in and vote a straight party ticket, you're voting all of those judges too. And that's fine with a lot of people. I mean, if you're just a confirmed Democrat or a confirmed Republican and you want to rubber stamp your ticket, you can do that there. Okay. But what I wanted to do was talk about making an informed voting republic. These things come in the mail. They give us our polling place. We can take this with us. You can get your absentee ballot with that. And this comes in the mail. This is our state. This was the primaries. In the primary ballot, then, we have the instructions on how to vote, how to do a write-in, information. These are the kind of offices that we are voting for this time that we will find on the ballot. Here it is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different languages. 12. And our polling places make an effort to have at least one poll worker there who speaks your language if you are in an area, where there's a lot of that spoken. Armenian, Chinese, Khmer, Farsi, Korean, Spanish, Tagalog, Filipino, and Vietnamese. Also Hindi, Japanese, Russian, and Thai. Okay? We're talking about an informed voting public. If you're a citizen, you can vote. And the reason these materials and driver's education materials and things like that are in other languages is these people do speak English, and they can read the English texts of what is presented to them, okay, to evaluate. But it's nice to be able to get the nuances in your native language. And that's what that's for. Okay, how to apply to vote by mail. Here is your voter bill of rights. You have the right to cast a secret ballot without anyone bothering you or telling you how to vote. You have the right to vote if you are a registered voter, even if your name is not on the list. That would be a provisional ballot. If you're a U.S. citizen living in California and you're not currently in state or federal prison or on parole for a felony, are not currently mentally incompetent, not found so by a court, at least 18 years old and registered where you currently live. I like voting on Tuesday. Most employers will give you time off to vote, and the poll workers are there with the polls open at 7 in the morning until 7 at night. We're there for you. I have voted in a poll. Uh-oh, we're getting an emergency alert on the TV right now. All right. I just decided to let this tape. That was a flash flood warning. Again, I'm just 20 miles south of Malibu and just above Malibu, or where, well, no, above and below Malibu, or where there are a lot of hills, and there's ordinarily a certain amount of flooding, but with the burns, there aren't enough plants to hold the hillsides in place. And we had very heavy rains the other day, and the film was incredible because it wasn't just a flood coming down. These are cliffs that are over Pacific Coast Highway, so there's a waterfall of mud. It's mud. It's water and dirt all mixed together. Mud. And then above it all, you can see metal netting, like not mesh, like huge netting in which there are giant boulders being caught. It's magnificent, the work that has been done to protect the hillsides here. But we don't need to go look at it ourselves. It's quite dangerous there. It's a usual cycle, but this one was particularly painful. Okay. I don't see anybody out there with rakes today. I'll just leave it at that. And go back to this. An informed voting public. All right. You can also vote early. You can vote by mail and drop your ballot off. Here are the things to make sure you do to make sure it's done right. Uh-oh. In 2020, Los Angeles County will transition from polling places to vote centers. I will dress all in gray to go there. I don't like this. This opens the door to too much election fraud. They should be in the polling places in the hands of the people, not the government, especially with, okay, and so on. All right, there are 27 candidates for governor. Make sure you read both pages. It tells you how to look at your book. There are 32 candidates for senator. Okay, you can only vote for one in each contest. Okay, that's your notice. Here's what your ballot's going to look like. And when you go in there, you go punching. And I punched the ones, I make X's, and then I punched the ones I did vote for with the punch when I was there. I duplicated it. It's a little stylus that has a round felt tip on it. It makes a real nice black dot on the page. But these are exactly the way the pages look that slip into, or that's how the pages, this page would be over here, and you flip them and you vote in a little hole. Okay, but they look exactly like this, so you can very carefully get your thinking done. Okay, so we have this. Now, when it comes to the state measures, we've got information here about what these measures are. It's very brief, but it's information. If you find something questionable, find it a little something that seems to be buried in there or some kind of vagaries, well, then you go to your big book and you look up the big stuff. Okay, now, we also have in here, and this is very important, party endorsements. For governor, Peace and Freedom has endorsed, okay, so lieutenant governor, so there are endorsements from all of the parties who care to endorse someone. And that's nice to know, and it's all in one place. Party endorsements. So you think, well, I'm going to vote a straight ticket. Well, then look down your ticket and see who you've got here. See who you've got here, because sometimes you want to break with your party. But see who they endorse. And if you're younger and trying to decide who you belong to, look who they endorse and find out how you feel about them. And say, well, I agree with this part of the party, but maybe not that part of the party. All right. Campaign statements. I don't know that we do have them in here. And that's a very important part for me. These are people who agreed to voluntary spending limits. Okay. Continued. Okay. And we like this. Okay. Now here's our candidate for sheriff. He gives his occupation and a statement why we should vote for him. And that's all that we have in this one. You may have these devices here. A magnifying, an easy grip. There's signage. You can have curbside voting. We have wheelchair accessible booths. Oh, even an audio ballot booth to have your ballot read to you if you're blind. Or a person can do that for you. And then black felt pen. Now, in our general election, that was just the primary. In a general election, we have the same kind of things that I showed you in the last one. Where you have everything and you mark it in advance. You notice I have no judges marked here. I don't. If I don't know, I don't vote. And if I, have a lot of time, or I know somebody in the judicial, and I can ask them about these people and how they feel, well, that's good. But I'm not going to vote if I'm not informed. Now, our state measures, once again, here. Like this one. It authorizes almost $9 billion in state general obligation bonds for various infrastructure projects. Well, various. See that word circled? I needed to go look in my big book and find out what these various infrastructure projects were. Is that part of the bill, or did they just make it short here, assuming that we would know? Well, water supply and quality, watershed, fish, wildlife, water conveyance, and groundwater sustainability and storage. All right, that's all here on this one, but I didn't notice that. I went for various, but I came here. Now, what do I have here? Here's the official title and summary. The legislative analyst gives us a background on why we have this proposed legislation, why we might have it, why it has been proposed, etc. It's proposed by the people. This is a bond, and it's submitted to the people. So here are these various projects. Here's the amount of money to each one, and there's the total that they're asking for. Oh, okay. This is 8.877 billion, I believe, yes. So these are in the 2 billion, right? But nonetheless, there they are, itemized, and there's the amount. That's how you do it. And yeah, that's important to me. I'll vote for that. Okay, so we have that. Here's more by the legislative analyst. Okay, what would the fiscal effects of this be? Here is an argument in favor of it from California Wildlife, Water Resources, and a water quality scientist. Here is a rebuttal to the argument in favor of it, which we read from some citizen taxpayer group. That tells you something right there. Here's a rebuttal to the argument against the proposition from the former state treasurer, planning and conservation lead, and a fire chief. Okay, so we read that. Sometimes just read who the people are. You go, oh, him. Never mind. Right? So there's that. All the way through, all of these propositions, okay, have further information. Some don't. Whoop. This one was removed from the ballot by order of the California Supreme Court. I don't know what the proposition was. And it's not there. And then Proposition 11 has no argument against it. Which refers to private sector emergency ambulance employees need to stay on call during their work breaks. And by law, we have to have a 10-minute inviolable work break per hour of work and a half-hour lunch break. But if you remain on in a situation like this, I could work in that and say, okay, somebody called me during my lunch break. I'll take my lunch break later. I'm not going to take it in 2 15-minute increments, though. I want my 30 minutes. But, fair enough, right? Well, I can't answer the phone now. I'm eating. It's an emergency, and you are an emergency worker. So I don't know how I voted, but there was no argument against that, and I voted yes on it. Okay. So then state, county, and district measures. And then we have our party endorsements for people. And do we have party endorsements on the measures? No. All right. Now we also have what we didn't have in this small one, our candidate statements. Here's the candidate for assessor, candidate for sheriff, and that's it. Yeah. Oh no, board of directors for Beach City's Health District. I notice also it is in English here and Spanish here. We do have Spanish speaking people in Southern California. Not everybody have them in both. In general, if somebody does not have a statement in one of these books, I don't vote for them. They don't get their stuff done on time. And I'm one of those kind of people. All right. Now, here also, we have the candidate statements for the state offices. 2 Democratic. Here's our Dianne Feinstein. But look at this. Gavin Newsom, he didn't have one. He's our lieutenant governor, but he really should have put something in that said, hi, I'm the lieutenant governor. Some people move back to the state from elsewhere and they don't really know. But everybody's got a statement in here. And then this tells us we can find our district. Three, I guess. Oh dear. And I have no idea who they are, and I don't even know what the State Board of Equalization does. And then we have justices of the Supreme Court in California. Our State Superintendent of Public Instruction is elected, and here are elections offices to call. I like polling places. I don't like the idea of a vote center. It's just so corporate. Keep money out of politics. I like going to this small center where I meet my neighbors and we vote against each other or whatever. You know, I like the human aspect of it. I don't like the TV twit aspect of politics. I like it on a personal level, as it should be, of the people, by the people, and for the people. I especially want to send this to Eddie Bernice Johnson and, well, now his name, Royce Davis, who both represented me while I was in Texas, and I'm proud to say that they did. Royce Davis was one of the Texas representatives who, when the Texas legislature was pulling some of its political nonsense, they all got together at their own expense and went to Arizona and spent quite some time there saying, we're not voting. Sorry, we're in Arizona. It was good. Yay. So, shout out to Royce West and Eddie Bernice Johnson of the Dallas, Texas area. Wonderful people. Oh yeah, by the way, they're both black, and this is Black History Month. Shout out. Doing well. But do good too. Do well, but do good while you do well. It's not good to be good at doing something that is not a good thing to do. Yes, in the case of some people, what she does is very, very... No, she's very, very good at what she does, but what she does is not good. Very, very quite contrary.